Good morning and welcome. So today the word is receptive. Sorry, not receptive, perceptive. And I've already applied a background to this page, and all I've added is pattern paper. These are not ones that I designed myself, but they were from a free magazine. Every month they give you at least 8 pages of free paper. It's craft magazines. So we're going to get on. Some of the pages I have already gone over and just in my daily practice kind of laid down some lines. Some I've created some imagery to. So first off, I'm just going to add gesso to this. When the papers were added, it was added with glue, and so you've got that kind of a fine layer that the art supplies, especially these, I'm using Reeves water-soluble crayons today. Just thought I would it's like every now and again go back into different supplies that you have that are just sitting there. I haven't been using these a lot because I have been doing a lot of sculpture. Anyway, so I'm just adding, not with this brush, with a card. I have a series of cards here that helps you to you can either use a credit card or any kind of card. It's just actually getting it out of the container. So I'm just spreading the gesso thinly on. When you apply it with the card, it dries a lot quicker, very quickly, and so you can then almost immediately add the other supplies that you're using. Again, as I always say, take each moment and savour it, because each moment can be a meditative action. The laying down of paper, collage, that again too is a meditative action. And you could even, if you want to have different things in your journal, I was thinking that you could lay down, like do a mini vision board, ideas board. I mean, we've got Pinterest for that now, haven't we? So this is really kind of practically touch dry, didn't take long, and all I'm doing now is adding blocks of colour using my water soluble crayons on top. It goes on a lot more easier when you've applied gesso. So I'm just adding them randomly. I do want some of the paper to show underneath, so when I apply water, I'm going to make sure that the layers where I've added colour is not too thick that you can't see underneath. But remember, each thing that you apply is like a layer. So I've got the layer of paper, I've got the layer of gesso, and now I've got the layer of the water-soluble crayons. And again, it's just about not necessarily saying, oh well, to do this I've got to add this colour. It's just whatever comes to hand, however you feel, add them. Sometimes what I do is just put the ones that I've used to the side so I can maybe use a few more, making sure that I'm not using like the same ones all the time. And sometimes I say, okay, I feel like adding a bit more yellow to the whole thing, and I will just do that. Okay, so often this is how I start my backgrounds, just adding to it. And I don't always do a face. I'm today thinking I might do something more abstract. but who knows where this is going to take me. So all I'm now doing is activating the colour on over the soluble crayon. Soluble crayon, yeah. Do they call themselves? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's just Reeves. This is probably the most affordable water-soluble crayons you can get, and actually they're quite good. I mean, I found these in the children's section. I guess the pigment compared to, say, my real favourite, which is these ones, the Neo colours. These are water-soluble wax pastels, and I love them. So where an area has got more colour than I want, I'll just thin it down and maybe apply whatever extra is on my brush on a different page. And as I always say, this is especially good if you've only got a short time. So, but you want to do something, like you want to, you wake up and you want your first thing that you do to be a creative activity. So this is something you can do. You break down the parts and say, okay, I can lay down paper today, or I can just add the gesso layer, and that's it. But at least you've done something. And that's what it's about. It's about stretching your creative muscles and giving yourself permission to be creative, because very often we allow other things to get in the way, and you've got to be mindful of how that is affecting you. And I guess you've got to be, when we think about the word perceptive, and relate it to ourselves and our creative practice, it's like we've got to think about what are those things that are good for us. How is it that we need to spend at least part of our day doing something that will bring you joy, and even if it's only for 10 minutes, because that 10 minutes of creative activity, the impact over the course of the day is really amazing, and if you don't know, you've got to try it. So this has been my third layer, and I've just added, as you've seen, and it's just a very simple activity, just added the water-soluble wax crayons to the paper, just a few, and I can still see, something to my elbow's swollen. Anyway, I can still see some of the paper underneath, and again, it might not necessarily stay like this, but I do like some of the elements, the flowers and the kind of shapes we've got here, even some of the flowers poking through here. And for you that might just be, okay, let me leave it like this and then come back tomorrow morning. So I just realised I've got some additional colours. I might add just a few more, a bit more of the yellow over here. and got this red, although it might be the same colour. I might have added it already, but I'm going to just, oh, it's a very faint one. And this deep purple, you're going to go over here as well, and down here. And then just activate it. I've got a bit too much water on, so I'm just taking the rest off on the other page. And I just really want this faint, but not to take over this whole area, so I'm just removing some of it. Just like that. I could also go over it with gesso again, to give it that kind of still wispy, just pale pastel-y type colours. Okay, so now what are we going to do now? I'm going to get my, it's graphite water-soluble graphite bar and I'm just going to do some circles on here. It's still a little bit damp, but that's okay. Just in some areas. So I guess what's happened now is unconsciously I've decided I am going to make this a more abstract. It's not going to be an image, specific image on here, but just more of an abstract feel. And so it's even more, you're even more able to just play and just to see how, so me adding this water-soluble wax crayon, what kind of effect that will give. And I just go round each shape that I've done and maybe add some additional markings. So again, giving yourself permission to play. Okay, so there's my finished page. I really like it. Creating marks and lines and using your favorite shapes is again another meditative type of activity, so why not bring it into your art journal? And yeah, as I said, the word is perceptive, so think about the ways in which you work and the ways in which bring peace. Think about all the different parts of your creativity, not just if you're creating images for somebody to buy, but your creative practice. How do you center yourself? How do you align yourself? How do you calm or bring peace or work through different things? Your art journal is an ideal place, and for me, again, this is just about spending time, taking time, quieting my thoughts. As I was doing it, I was thinking of different things, but working through different things, thinking about how maybe a situation that's happened, what I think about it. Now I take a step back, looking on, and that can all come as a way in which you bring clarity to those situations through your, as I say, through your creative practice. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for now. I thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing what you create, how you look at that word in regards to your creative practice. And yeah, stay blessed and be a blessing. Take care for now.